It's all good. And I see the engraver camera, and I see the little programs and whatnot up there.
Yeah.
Mike's relatively fine from what I can hear.
Okay. Check that. And oh,
I was seeing the laser.
okay. I am in the chat.
Yep.
So this is a fiber laser, and it is etching metal at the moment. I've got two machines I'll be using: a laser engraver, this one here, and a laser welder. Zoom in there on the camera actually now. Focus.
The stepping's always going to be fun to deal with.
And go.
But yeah, it's amazing.
Okay.
As someone who
And I'm
actually.
happy to answer any questions as things go on. Figure I'm gonna etch a few things, weld a couple of things, cut some metal, stuff like that. Uh, while it's doing that, I can show you what the machine itself looks like. So that is the laser currently doing all the work,
Nice.
and that is Luna. But that is the laser that I'm currently using. It is a 60-watt galvan fiber laser. Really fun machine. It can do a decent amount of stuff. It can cut thin metal. It can weld a bit. And yes, I really like playing with it.
Yeah, as someone who's into more 3D printing than laser engraving, I
Now, to
understand.
focus
You
the
love
laser,
your
I lift
machine.
the whole arm up and down. So right now it's at a 27 millimeters, and I think I'm going to do a lighter next, also Luna. It shouldn't be that bright, at least not that you can see it in here. You can actually see the inside of the welder over there on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Luna tends to sell better.
Well, it's also
But
because
I'm going
she
to do a
blew.
Luna Celestia Zippo style lighter next. Then probably switch over to the rotary to do a cup. And then going cut and weld a pin.
It is just
And I should be
fascinating
able to
seeing
do
the
some
other
custom
maker
stuff too,
stuff.
absolutely. One of the other really neat things that I can do in this machine is laser color, and I think I can actually do one of those as well. Let me just take a look, see. Yeah, laser color is a very neat process and one that isn't used very often because it's way too much work. I have done all this work already, so I can do a little bit of laser color annealing. And I think I'm going to do a laser color of Rainbow Dash, actually. So yes, that'll be fun. Well, I like playing with lasers, so it'll be fun for me. I hope it'll be fun for people watching, and I'm happy to answer any questions while this is all running along on my machine. There you go. All right. So that is a Luna Flask. I'm going to zoom out real quick. And that's it. It is not one for the touch. It's very easy to do. So not really. The question was, would this program work on laser cutters that only do wood? And the answer is not. I actually have one of those too. This program that I'm using right now is called EasyCAD. It is a very annoying program to use. Here I can actually switch over to the program itself and show what that looks like. So if I actually zoom in onto this piece here, you can see that it's not solid. It's actually all hatches. So everything is done at very specific sizes. So like this fill here, if we take a look at it directly, is 0.04 millimeters between every single one of these passes. And the lines are 0.01 millimeters. This program will work on CO2 lasers, but only galvanometer ones like this one. That is to say, if we switch back here, the ones that look like that, because the laser's coming out of the lens on top, the one that you can see the tip sticker on, and it's just thrown all the way down the field. My CO2 laser is a more standard gantry laser, so that one doesn't run as fast and uses completely different software. It could import DXF files, but well, they will work fine. I usually do SVGs myself, actually. So let's see. Let's actually do laser color. I think that's a really fun thing to try, and it's a very neat process that very few people use. So I'm gonna grab that out of the way. And let's move over to color pendants. Color pendants means I need one of my guiding brackets, and these are actually cut, of course, on the CO2 laser. So these are cut on the other machine out of acrylic. And they do get a little bit beaten up, which is why I need to do it. Yes, I can do designs on knives and blades. Actually, I did a little highlight knife not that long ago as my own personal piece. I can show it off here. This is a very little knife that I got that I just etched for myself, where it's one of the little Japanese ones. And you can see the etch on that in detail there. And I was very happy with that piece, actually. If I could find a good place to get a bunch of knives with brass handles, I probably would be etching a few of them just for the fun of it. Now, I need this zoom out, let's back in focus, and zoom out as well. There we are. So now this goes into 3D. I have laser etched my laser bed, so I have guiding marks, which let me position things much better. So the bracket's in 3D, which means that's the top corner. That. So this is actually going to be pretty cool because I'm going to be doing color with the laser. Hopefully it does work on the first try. It should. And if it doesn't, it'll still look interesting. So not a big deal. R, what is my focus? 36.4. 4.6 either way. 0.6. There we are. So this is the pendant we're using. It is mirror finished on one side and frosted on the back. So for the back, I'm going to etch the cutie mark first. And then I'm going to flip it over and etch the colors. And we'll see if we can get a good representation of those. So let's focus in. All right, now we're in focus. All right, so Rainbow Dash, cutie mark first. I'm going to go over here. And let's edge the cutie mark. I'm going to preview. That looks good. And firing laser. So the etching itself is pretty high power. And that's why there's all these fun sparks going on. There we are. And now we're going to do the color pass. I'm going to flip it over. This is a little warm, but not too bad. It's mirror finish, but I'm going to change that in a second. So the mirror finish is really nice, and you can see the laser right there. But for the color to show up, it's much better to frost it first. So I'm going to just run a pass on it and give it a bit of a frosted effect first. This part is quick. It'll be a little slow later. So this is a frosting pass. It doesn't really alter the feel of the metal, but it makes it less mirror. And there we are. Now you can't see the reflections as well. And now let's switch over and do Rainbow Dash. There we are. It's going to start with a color etch. That's going to be a little slower, and then it's going to do the lines and firing. So this is going to be really fun. So this is laser color annealing. We're basically changing the color of the oxide layer on the stainless steel with high speed, high frequency laser passes. I do make equestria bits. I have some lying around that I've made earlier. I was making them earlier in the week. And you can start seeing Rainbow Dash's outline now. We're going to do the background, then fill in her mane, and then it'll etch the actual design all around. You can't really see the design because the laser stop button is covering it up, but it'll show up shortly. And yes, I'll be able to show the equestria bits, but I don't want to stick my hand on the laser bed at the moment. Not because it'll hurt, but because once we stop this process or if I interrupt it, it'll be very hard to get back. But yes, I'll be able to show the bits after that. So these colors here took a very long time to dial in and make sure they look right. The laser isn't really meant for this. This is not pre-programmed. This is all trial and error. For every color, I had to figure out the speed in millimeters per second, the power, the frequency, the pulse widths, and then the hatch distance. And there we are. The colors are done. Let's zoom into that again. And you can see where the colors are. They're right over the metal like that. I do sell all of these things on my shop. I have things that I make today that I'm mailing out on Monday. So I don't know if you can hear the dinging sound every once in a while. That's my laser welder complaining that I'm not using it. Um, how often does it air out? Not too often, but it's been known to happen. Basically, the machine can just crash or freeze. Also, I guess since we're set up for this, I can do a Luna Celestia coin before I do the Luna Celestia lighter. Also, rainbow finish. This isn't quite anodizing. Anodizing is a slightly different process. That's why I say laser color annealing. Also, even though this is stainless steel, these colors can rust. They can't be scratched easily off, and they're not going to wear it by themselves or UV exposure, but they can rust. So I normally put epoxy on it and give it a nice protective dome, and they look really shiny that way. So once this finishes, I'm going to show off what the finished piece looks like. And the lines look a little messy right now, but that's only because there's a bit of slag on them. I'll just wipe it off in a second and show what the piece looks like. And that's it. Laser is done. 1 second. So just to show, there's the finished piece here. The colors are still pretty shiny. I don't have a Daybreaker design. No, this one doesn't actually hurt that much. You more just interrupt the beam if you stick your hand in this laser. I stuck my hand in the other laser, the CO2. That one hurts a lot. Because that one's much. And the nice thing is on this camera, you can actually see the passes that the program is putting in with the tenth of a millimeter spacing. And that's it right there. So this is the Rainbow Dash color pendant. Okay. Now, and this piece is already cooled off, so I can just pick it up. For the bits that I make, And I could make one actually on camera, but they take like 3 minutes to aside. Let's actually do that. That'll be fun. These are what the finished bits look like. Let me grab a blank and show how that process works. So there we are. That's the finished bit on the front and on the back. Let's see here.
Remember, everyone, this is both a hobby and a way he does money. Support him because this is very cool. But also, if you are interested in it, look for like entry level stuff because this stuff is much easier to get nowadays.
Right. And there is a blank bit right there. So let's pop it in. Just like that. See it. And now I've got to switch files. Oh no, I don't. Well, I actually do some painting now, but most of my stuff is just lasers because lasers are fun. So this is my coins two-tone folder. And we want to adjust focus as well. I think 33 for these. Yep, 33. And small twine bit front. There we go. Lighting. And gonna fire the laser gun. So it's actually really fun. The laser reflection light looks green on parts of it. I'm probably just going to do the one side of this for now. And switch over and do the rainbow coins, which are the opposite process of the rainbow dash, where the rainbow coins have a rainbow finish put on them originally, and then I remove it for most of the coins. And then once these coins are done, when I do both sides, I actually have a magnetic tumbling machine, and that'll polish them up in about 10 minutes and clean out all the edges and the slag, and they feel very smooth to the hand and very nice. You can see how much depth this is in there too. Oh yeah. So this machine is limited in working area to about 4 inches square because that is the lens that's currently on the machine. My other machine, which is the CO2 gantry style machine, has a 24-inch by 12-inch work area because that one has a moving laser head. So there we are. The coin is mostly done. It's just going to put on the details and do a bit of cleaning on it right now. But we've got about half to and 0.8 millimeter in on it, which is a decent amount of depth on a coin this small. Not a lot. This machine actually uses about as much power as a desktop PC. It is also about the size of a desktop PC. Lying on its side with an arm on top of it, but close enough. The power is all delivered in a very small area, so in general, the machine doesn't use up all that much power. There we are. Um, because this is a 50 watts MOFA, most things that I do on this machine are pretty quick now. I had a 30-watt machine, and that one was a lot slower because it wasn't a MOPA. MOPA stands for Master Oscillator Power Amplifier. It means that in addition to setting the kilohertz, which is how many times per second the laser fires, I can also set the pulse width, which is how many nanoseconds it fires for. This means I can adjust it to get the exact amount of stuff. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of stuff that gets messed up along the way. Some of it gets used later. So for example, I have a cup that got messed up, and that just gets used as my prototyping piece. I have another cup that's a Twilight one. That one is less messed up, but it's gonna get so one side looks good, but the other side, the focus kind of flamed off over here. So that's also gonna get destroyed at some point. We usually have a lot of junk. And yeah, all the settings are in nanoseconds, basically. That is half the fun of it. If I switch over to the app here, so I can set, like the speed goes in millimeters per second. The slowest I ever gone is 50, and the most is about 5,000 millimeters per second. Powers in percentages. Then frequency in kilohertz, and pulse width is nanoseconds. My old laser was locked to a 200 nanosecond pulse width, which means I can control it as well. I never like selling the error stuff. It usually just lies around here. Oh, I do have two neat pieces I can show off that I was making for the fun of it earlier. So first is this little rainbow dash pendant, and let me zoom into that, and that is titanium. Second. Now, if I zoom in, we can see the detail on it. And this is a small laser cut, laser colored titanium rainbow dash pendant. And I have a little hummingbird I cut out earlier also, just for the fun of it. These are random pieces. I don't think they'll ever get sold. I do have a lot of junk pieces. I have a lot of test pieces, but they're not as nice as the finished ones. Also, just to compare, so this is how messy the bit looks when it is done. And this is one of the cleaned ones here, which has a lot more detail and feels a lot nicer to the hand. So let's zoom out, and I'm going to do a rainbow coin. And yes, I am going to Babscon. I'm still making things for it. I have some new pins that I'm custom making myself, and those are going to be going to Babscon. So these are the rainbow coins now. Let me swap over to that. And let's see here. Coins, rainbow. This one's got reddish on one side. So I can do a Celestia Luna coin. Let's do that. That's usually a popular one anyway. Let's zoom in, get our focus. We are at 35, I think. Perfect. Coins in focus. And let's do Celestia on this side, Luna on the other side. So there we go. So the first thing I do is I remove the rainbow on the border, mostly because that makes the color stand out more and it's just visible in the main. And I can turn the border gold, and I think that looks neat. There we go, cleaning path. My laser welder is complaining that it's been abandoned. I'm gonna go utilize it shortly. I can do that. It's mostly that I need the art. then I can probably do customs. Oh no, I could do a Wallace as well. That'll be fun. I do enjoy watching the spark. That is probably have the fun of using these machines. The welder especially tosses out sparks quite nicely. So I'm going to do a wallet, and then I think I'm going to do one of the pins that I'm working on for Babcon because I'm making them myself. And yep, feel free to DM me when you're ready to do stuff. I'm happy to or send some orders or everything like that. So there we are. There's the Celestia. So this is how it looks before it's been cleaned. And if I just spray a bit of water and dish soap on it, mixed with a bit of rubbing alcohol, so that seems to be my best option for cleaning stuff. There's how the piece comes out, nice and clean. And now let's just do Luna on the other side. So on this one, we're just changing the existing plating. I'm not in color on it. The Rainbow Dash pendant, I was physically altering the oxide layer. So it's kind of like bluing it in a very specific way. And there we are. Let's do Luna on the other side. Same process again. Starting with that. I can also only do color on a couple of metals. Steel is the most versatile for me. That's the one I figured out the most. I can also do titanium, but much more limited. And you can turn brass white or red in addition to doing clean black lines on it. So that's about it, though. That Rainbow Dash piece was probably some of the more vibrant colors, the blues in there especially. I can bring it back out on the laser as soon as this piece is done. Because these colors are done by a factory doing a titanium plating process. Are okay. That piece is done as well. That's it. So there's the Luna coin as well. So this is a Celestia Luna two-sided coin. So actually, let's do the. I could etch a titanium sword. Yes, titanium is absurdly bright when being etched. Let's zoom out and zoom out. R. Okay. So for the next piece, remove this right here. We want to do in 3D, 6D, and 2D. Let me do that right there. All right. Focus is going to be 48, I think. Let me double check. I write down in my file what my focus should be for everything because, yeah. And hey, but Gare, how's everything? All right. 47.7. Let's adjust that up. All right. And so this is my sheet metal vise. It lets me hold a sheet of metal and keep it from moving. And this is 0.8 millimeter thick brass. Just plain brass sheet, nothing special about it. Bought it on Amazon. Uh, it's brass. The other vital thing for this particular work is my wooden poking stick, which is a chopstick. I'm going to set that over here. And let's see. I think I'm going to etch a. Let's do Pinkie Pie first. That looks good. So I'm going to put that there. All right. Lighting preview. Looks good. Let's zoom into that too so we see that. That should be in focus. I can zoom in one time. There we are. Okay. So these are going to be pins. Which character gets sold the most and which the least? It really varies. Usually Luna and Twilight are pretty popular. Uh, Usually Applejack is a little less so. I still like my lasers. I guess. The nice thing about these pins is that I can make them with basically any character. There's no minimums or issues, and it just takes like about 3 minutes to make a pin, which isn't too bad. There we are. Slightly darker path now. Eye protection would probably be a good idea, yes. Am I wearing it? And sometimes. I just try not to look at the shiny. Okay, so now that the pin is etched, we need to cut it. And that also takes about a minute. And there's the cutting laser now. Honestly, the laser color annealing is probably some of the most complicated stuff, but I do a lot of random little things, so tough to say. Also, I'm mostly looking at it on the camera preview myself also. I usually use the camera for that, so I'm not staring directly at the light. So, and looks like it's starting to cut through. So you can't actually tell just by looking at it, but the laser's doing like a little spiral as it's going around right now. So even though it's just moving forward, it's doing like a really, really tiny squiggle because that's how it clears out enough metal so the piece actually gets cut out. You can now see underneath that it's definitely going through right there. And that's it. Now for the important poking stick. It's done. Now this is a little warm, so I'm going to let it cool off and do one more. So I'm going to do two of these. And let's see, I'm going to do Starlight next, I think. Our Starlight Etch, that's going to be right next to it. So this actually isn't that bright. Titanium is a lot brighter than brass is. Steel is in between the two of them. So it's brighter than brass, but not as bright as titanium. And I actually have plenty of rarity ones already finished. That's why I'm not doing rarity right now. These are actually all going to come with me to BabsCon, so these are pieces to be finished. Oh, the support is so much thicker that I'm not too concerned about that. Much. It'll eventually cut through it, but that'll take ages. And then what I do with the piece here, just to show, is that I've taken that piece and I put a little dot in the roughly center, because I need to attach a pin back to it. And I'm just using a Sharpie to put the dot on too. There, later. Official look. So I'm gonna cut this one out, and then I'm gonna hop into the laser welder where I have a second camera, and we'll be able to show how that works. All right, and let's cut out this Starlight. And there we go. And this is life for me right now. I'm making stuff for BabsCon, so I will continue lasering for the rest of the day, I think. Already starting to make its way through. Yep, beam is starting to go through the metal now. So it's a little greenish in the reflection. More blue, but a little green. Silver is very green. Titanium is pure white. That should have been through, and it is. That's it. Get that piece there. All right. And so I'm going to take the two pieces that I prepped. Our Starlight, that, and I'm going to go over into the laser welder and power that up. And let's switch to the welder camera. So before I go in there, a laser welder looks like this. It's basically a giant D6 microscope, and that is inside of it in that little camera on the side there. So I look through the microscope and I see a crosshair. I take the two things I want to weld, bring them up to the crosshair, hit the pedal that's lying there next to it, and that will fire a laser that will weld them together. So I'm going to switch over into that, and I'm going to go do that. There's the inside of the laser welder. Grab them to pieces and hop in there. So there's the piece I want to weld. And here is a pin back. And I'm going to switch this over into orange, I think. Because that's how far I was adjusted. So that's it. Now I want to get the spin back attached to this piece here. Put them together. And once the laser fires, it is attached. But then I usually hit it a couple more times on the sides. And that's it. It's attached. I'm going to do the other piece now as well. It's a little off center, but it's really hard to tell in that machine, so they will be a little bit here and there. That's just how they are. All right. And that's it. Pin back is attached. I can show it off on the other machine now. Large camera. There we are. So that's it. There's the finished pin with the pin back attached. Let's do some in on that. So the welder has literally just melted the two metals together. The soot marks will go away once I polish it up. But that is just on there, and that's it. That is my new toy. It is the laser welder. Really fun to play with. I've welded random things together with it now. It is very good at that. So there's two bolts welded together with a third one attached as well. Why? It seemed like a thing to do. It's really good at welding stainless steel, brass, and titanium and silver. A little less good at can't do aluminum. That's its weakness because aluminum is just not good at that sort of thing. You need argon gas to be able to weld aluminum. So let's zoom out, and I'm gonna do a Luna Celestia lighter because we still have a bit of time.
If you can hear me, yeah, you got about 12 minutes left. Give it take.
I'm going to switch back to my bracket in 3C this time around. Oh, I have welded so many like random nuts and bolts together at this point. It's way too much fun. R and down to 14.25 for the lighters. All of that is in millimeters. That's how I measure almost everything, from focus to the pieces. Sometimes, yes. But, it's probably been a year, maybe more. I should start. I'm actually, for this con, revamped my streaming setup with this new camera that I'm very happy with. So there we are. And let's do Luna on this side and Celestia on the other side. Okay, double check my positioning. That looks good. And firing laser. I will try. I often end up sitting and working, but just don't get around to starting the stream because I'm way too in the middle of everything. But I really should get back into streaming, especially now that I've got a better setup and the welder. I really enjoy this hobby too. Thanks. I don't. You can't 3D print with the laser really, but I do have a 3D printer as well. I make some 3D printed magnets and a couple other small things. Uh, well, I mean, there's plastics you can laser and plastics you can't, and usually the plastics you can 3D print, you can't laser, like PLA, PETG, ABS. You can 3D print those, but they're not generally good for lasering. They produce very toxic fumes. On the other hand, the plastics you can laser are things like acrylic and Delrin, which I work with a lot, but you can't 3D print them. So it's one side. Let's do the Celestia side now. I could etch a hammer. That'd be fun. There's all the detail work of the laser. Here it's gonna should be able to do a clean pass there shortly. There we go. Really fun toy. I would be concerned. Well, the HT2D and all the usual 3D printer converted into laser are using a diode laser, which is a little bit more limited than the two of the ones that I'm using. But they do work for things. They're just a little slower. And I would honestly probably not do it because you leave way too much smoke residue inside what should be your 3D printing area. So I like keeping this machine separate. I could laser etch a brake pad. In theory, like I said, the laser can only do about 4 inches at a time, but the laser bed is open, so I can slide things around. There is the finished and cleaned piece now. And you know what? Since I'm already set up in this position, I'm going to etch a keychain Discord because someone ordered that earlier today, and I may as well just make that. Right. Keychains. Let's get that next. Let's grab a keychain piece, which is just metal disc with hole in it. Or go down to 3. There. All right, that's going to be Discord. And double check positioning. Looks good. Firing laser. There's a lot of very stupid things I can laser etch. I've etched a lot of random stuff already. There we go. This is probably going to be the last piece because I think we have about 5 minutes left. I'll toss on an Autumn Blaze keychain. Those are always nice. And I'm glad it's entertaining. I have a lot of fun with it myself. I don't have a Discord server. I just hang around in general. But yes, I should also I do have a Twitch that I use to stream on. I haven't done that in about a year. It's just my little ties. I'm that on basically everything from Twitch to Twitter to Blue Sky. Pretty sure I'm on Threads too. No one is on Threads. And the boulders decided to go to sleep. That's what it's singing to me. Let's go to the other side of that. And these pieces are not warm at all. They're very cool to the touch still, because this is a very light and quick etch. Don't even take 2 minutes. Right, you have a good one as well. So yeah, any last minute questions? I guess I'm just gonna keep lasering anyway once stream ends, but I've got work to do. My usual problem is when I'm on Twitch, I would stream for like 6 to 8 hours because I'm just spending the day working, and I don't imagine it's that entertaining for that long. Probably the ties. Hmm. Never live streamed on YouTube. I will. I do have a YouTube channel. I post videos of the laser on it because what else do I do? But if this has been entertaining, I'm glad to hear it. The Twilight tie, the original one, but I like the Cutie Mark only version as well. I, it's stuff I've been doing for way too long now, and I'm always happy to have ideas about things to lasers, stupid or not. I think we're like 3 minutes. I'm gonna toss on a bottle opener keychain. There we are. This will be an Autumn Blaze. So yeah, really fun toy. Like all of my machines, I've got 2 lasers, the welder, and a 3D printer, as well as a sublimation setup. Definitely ping me about commissions later. I will be around. I sell stuff online at mylittletires.com. Very nice and simple. Right. So I guess thanks everyone for showing up. I'm just gonna keep lasering, and I imagine the stream's gonna stop shortly. But yeah, this has been fun. I hope everyone's enjoyed just watching me laser stuff. Yeah, I can keep lasering. It's, and I'm sitting in a couple of other servers. I'm usually in the Sky Railroad server, but I could make one at some point. I just don't feel like dealing with it, honestly. There we are. Make a wallet after this. There we go. And then the Twilight wallet. Wallet. And these are some of my new things. So, V-card flap and everything. Yeah, edge that. I sell multiple shot glasses and mugs. I have pint glasses too, but they're only at conventions at the moment. After 1D.
Yeah, there's 15 minutes between your panel, so you can go a little over.
Oh, okay. Just let me know when, but I'll keep lasering. I don't mind.
Yeah, it's
Happy
all
to
good.
help.
Again, tried to cut off about 10 after, just so we have 5 minutes in case.
Just let me know when, and I'm ready to stop. Because
Will do,
I'll
sir.
just laser. I appreciate it. All right. So I'm gonna do a wallet. I guess let's do a Twilight Sparkle wallet. I need one of those anyway. Other thing I do with the wallets here is I put clips on them so they shift around. Thanks, Guy sells plushies. He sells drink recipes. He sells donkeys. He sells keychains and charms and things. There we are. A wallet. Good enough. Okay. Twilight Sparkle wallet. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear it. The wallets usually sing a little bit. Um, Imagine my microphone's doing a very good job of blocking out the audio, but there's the wallet etched on one side, and now for the other. There we go. It's done. Yeah, this is honestly most of my days before a convention is I'm just doing this. Let's pop the bracket back in. See, I'm actually going to do something that I only sell at conventions for now, which is dog tags. Well, I sell titanium dog tags online, but I'm going to be stopping that soon and switching to these dog tags, which are steel, because they are a lot better. Go. And that'll be a Twilight as well. I could do a Celestia, actually. That looks like a Celestia. That works for me. Yes, the laser needs focused at the top of the piece. I've already pre-focused it on basically everything. So I have a dial that raises and lowers the laser arm, and a micrometer that tells me how high I've raised it, basically, in millimeters. So I know that for this file, I need to be at 3.5 millimeters, because it says that in the file, and then I just adjust to that. And let's do a Celestia. There we are. And looks good. Firing laser. I know wasn't sure if the wallets were being picked up or not by the microphone. Most of these things are a little too quiet, so I don't expect them to make any noise. Here's the Celestia dog tag. Let's zoom into that. All right. Lovely. Those are the collapsible shot glasses. I do have those as well. I've got a Luna one right here. And actually, that is one of the junk pieces. This is I'll probably toss that out later, because you can see it started a little too high up on the piece. So that is just a junk one. Activates the P mark. Thank you. Do that. Check the position and firing laser. Well, the lasers are really fun toys. I will say that. All right, and let's do Twilight Sparkle. So let's jump it over. Twilight Stern.
Yeah, it's getting close to the cutoff, so this will be the last one on this. But remember, everyone, please go to the vendor hall, look up Milo Ties. He has lovely merch that you can get, and You might even get something cut from the stream. Who knows?
Thank you very much. And again, thanks everyone for joining me for that. And the bamboo one is not quite for that. Again, it can mark stainless, but not etch it. So you're just inlet. And it's not the same as a 40-watt CO2 or a fiber. They're slightly different machines in that regard. So, but yes, thank you everyone for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to exit the cutie mark. We'll see if it gets cut off or not. And that'll be it. But I'm just going to keep lasering. Nice to meet you as well. The lasers are just really fun toys. I'm biased, but they are.
Oh, the lasers are second only to watching like either a resin printer or a FDM printer make something that you created in your mind reality.
That is always so much fun. Same thing with the laser too. If it's a thing I've designed, getting it to be real is a really neat experience and an amazing thing to see.
That is the greatest joy of having these be relatively cheap. I say relatively because
Yes, relatively. All right, and then I guess this piece is done. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
no problem. You are always welcome to come back and always welcome in the vent hall.
Appreciate it. I'm certain I'll be doing this panel every time. It's the best thing about an online con. I can show off my machinery.
Yep, and you don't have to lug it around being like, hold on. Hey, this is my workstation. How did you get it
No
through
one
airport security?
exactly.
We don't talk
No
about
one gets to
airport
see them there.
security.
So yes, that is how that usually works. All right. Do I stop on my end or do you cut it off? What's
You
the best
can
stop?
just stop on your end. We're changing stuff in the background now. But again, thank you,
Oh,
and everyone remember, he is in the vendor hall. He
thanks for
sells
having
these.
me. I do indeed. Have a good one.
You too, sir.